worry is something I consider a lot because my father being immigrant father from Ghana and from a pretty abject poverty in Ghana, um, then coming here, having his family in Chicago, I think he held on to a lot of anxieties of like
to a lot of anxieties
what
of
he
like to a lot of anxieties of like to a lot of anxiety
worried about even teaching us his own language and worried if I was going to get killed by the police because I'm always getting arrested and worried if I would do well in school and worry. Um, and obviously, having my father as this incredibly educated and brilliant and dedicated dad, huge privilege. Not everybody has that. Most people don't have that, actually, at least in my life and experience. So the primary thing I take away from my father is privilege to have had him in my life and to have him in my life, but also he's a worry wart. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of that. You know what I mean? Because it was always like, man, are you gonna be okay? And and so I think about that as I spend
that was a
time with
bit
my
much,
son,
yo.
like to intentionally,
That
like
was
with my son,
crazy,
every
son.
morning I wake him up with affirmations like, um, I'm powerful
Man,
beyond measure, and I
you just
attract
gonna drop
exactly
like
what I need
that.
because I expect nothing less. Just statements of faith and power to counteract the. I know that I got worry inside of me. You know what I mean? It's been passed down to me, but
You gotta do what you gotta
I'm
do. You're
trying to
trying
be
to be the person
intentional
that you're
to
trying to
not
be.
give that to him. You know what I mean? Because if I can make that decision, then I need to.
Yeah, I can't imagine not having worry like that. You know, the
That's wild.
child of a mom who was born in a displaced persons camp after the Holocaust. It's so built like that sort of trauma is so built.
I didn't
it's
know
baked
that.
in.
Can you tell me about that?
I don't know. That comes up
You
from
say
time to
your
time.
mom was born in a
Say,
displaced.
can you tell him or did you?
Oh,
tell
No,
him?
I said, can you?
Oh, can I? Sure. Oh, sorry. I thought you said did you?
Wow.
Yeah, my mom was born in a DP camp.
What is a DP camp?
So after the Holocaust, after the U.S. showed up or whatever, and started
do you
to
watch the Ebro
get things together,
Laura
and people were sent to different
Rosenberg
places.
show on?
And my grandparents had been on the move for like 8-9 years.
You
wherever
put
it was,
crypto and
from Poland.
stuff on.
So they had gone
So
different
what?
directions. They ended up. My grandfather ended up so far east, he was like in Russia doing like slave labor basically. And they just kind of kept moving. My grandparents' story is really nuts. And literally every place they'd go, they would just be asking, "Hey, have you seen so and so?" When they'd meet other Poles, they'd say, "Hey, do you know so and so? You so and so?" And because they'd been dating for a couple of years, and then their families bounced. So when their families bounced, they were from the same town, but when their families ran, they obviously were separated. So they just kept in contact through that, and then somehow, eventually, that game of telephone worked, and they found each other towards the end. And they ended up in the same. They ended up together, and then they were put into a displaced persons camp, which is where a lot of people post-Holocaust went because your homes were gone because the Nazis had taken Poland. So they ended up in this camp, and my mom was born there.
Damn.
Because I guess so I guess I need to ask my mom the specifics, but yeah, I guess you were there for a minute because they got married there. They got married there. They had a baby there. Like they were in the camp for a couple of years.
Your mom grew up there.
No, until she was 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's more than Maya is now.
Though.
Yeah.
No, listen, I spent the last 13 months working on my baby. That was all in a displaced persons camp.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then they ended up in getting to come to the U.S.
That'll get you to stop complaining about your new apartment. How about that?
Will it?
I mean, it should.
It should get me to stop complaining about my new apartment. Will it? Listen, my grandparents worked very hard so I could complain about my apartment just a couple of generations later.
I didn't know that, but it makes a lot of sense to me because the fearless perspective that you've taken in support of the Palestinian people, and also the nuanced perspective that you've taken in that entire conversation is the one that actually makes sense to me as somebody who has that history to say, okay, these are the ways in which my family was impacted by hate and fascism, and that.
Well, that's why it's so hurtful. That's why it's so. For my mom, it's like and she's the exact same as me. I can't imagine what it feels like for her to now see this place that they had seen as a place of refuge and
You're
what
talking about the United States or
no Israel.
Oh, God.
You listen, my parents went to they went to Israel in the summer of like 72 or 71 or whatever, lived on a kibbutz. This is a long time ago. Big Zionist vibes, big different energy at that time, totally different understanding of and now my dad is like literally had to relearn what the whole thing even was, because we were taught like, this is what makes it fundamentally so complicated. You are asking people to not believe what they have been taught from the second they were old enough to understand anything. That Israel has only been good and for the protection of you, and they are on the right side of everything, and it was just done to protect people, and particularly, this is where I see a big misunderstanding about it.
That Yaya record.
Post-Holocaust.
Yaya record before?
Which turned out to be kind of like the best marketing Israel could have gotten, because obviously it was already going on for a very long time when the Holocaust came, right?
Actually, we're talking pretty good, yo.
50, 60 years after Theodore Herzl, or 50 years after Theodore Herzl. So like this is already moving. But now there's a place that Jews can go. And so your whole life you're taught about what it can mean to you, and then to find out, while there may be like kernels of truth in there about what it could be for you, there's all kinds of other stuff that you were not aware of at all. Asking people to relearn that, especially when people are lazy and selfish, people don't want to do that.
Lazy, selfish, privilege.
And they're privileged and they don't have to.
It's like indoctrinated. I mean, indoctrination is just.
But so that's why, like when I talk about my mom, right, who's also Ashkenazi, and parents were from Poland.
I gotta go to you.
That's why she's angry when they killed Itzhak Rabin, because Itzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat were trying to solve this problem, and we're on the verge of signing a document to create a two-state solution. And there was a push from Netanyahu and these crazy right-wingers that ended up resulting in the murder of Itzhak.
I mean, really and truly, don't listen past in India's verse.
Solve for what we're seeing today. They don't want to solve.
No, and also you're talking about in Arafat and Rabin coming together. You're talking about two people who were seen as absolute criminals by the other side. Yitzhak Rabin considered a full-on war criminal for when he was in the military, just murdering people, doing what he had to do at the time.
He was in what military?
The Israeli military.
Yitzhak
Rabin was a decorated military person prior to this.
Okay.
Prior to his political career. Then he ends up rising in the political ranks and starts moving further to the left and being like, this isn't sustainable. What we're doing here, this is not. We're talking about the long-term sustainment of our well-being. This is not working.
For sure.
Arafat, who when I grew up was the definition of a terrorist, right? PLO, terrorist. Arafat, terrorist. That's what all we thought of. Buses blowing up. These are the things you picture, right?
Arafat.
These two guys come together and shake hands with Bill Clinton to be like, this is gonna change. Think about what we're seeing people, how they're reacting to Bad Bunny at the fucking Super Bowl. Imagine what they felt when Rabin and Arafat shook hands to think we could actually change this.
So they kill Itzhak Rabin.
A crazed right-winger in Israel.
Wow.
But by the way, who still gets celebrated. There's like a weird right-wing faction who celebrates that guy.
That was what when Netanyahu was called for kill.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Itzhak Rabin's widow is like, I entirely.
What about it?
Yes, 100%. And the guy who most celebrated, obviously I'm not knowledgeable enough and don't know his name. The guy who most celebrated the murder of Rabin, treated it as a national holiday, would go out in the streets every year and have a rally to celebrate his murder, is in Netanyahu's cabinet right now.
Oh, they wild though. Netanyahu's cabinet. I met one of them actually.
On that trip.
I did. I was kind of forced to go see the other side.
Yeah, they hit you with
But hold on, they didn't just let you go party in Tel Aviv. They had to make you go talk to. You could have done some fun stuff on the other side.
Speak to the minister of propaganda. You know what I mean? I don't. Maybe he was the
How was that?
publicist.
What was that like?
It was interesting because I had this whole notebook full of all the things I had seen and read, and thought I was gonna catch him up with logic. You know what I mean? I was like, well, what
So they
about
got these
this?
roles and levels.
How is this okay? My grand argument was framed as a kid from Chicago, which obviously is a very violent environment. When I walk through Jerusalem and I see Israeli men with shorts, flip-flops, and yarmulkes carrying
you know what the
open
biggest thing. I think we talked about this. The biggest
and
thing
then
that
I
bothered
dart
me
my
about
eyes to the left and I see
the shit
Palestinian
that
teenagers
these guys
who are
do
being
is the
arrested and
N-word.
given mandatory minimum sentences for throwing stones. I
It's the
asked him
N-word
like I'm asking you,
in public spaces.
how is that a logical equivalent? How does that make sense? One can carry M16s openly and the other has a mandatory minimum for throwing stones. The propaganda minister was like, well, you know, stones could be very big. You know?
And dangerous.
And I was like, okay, so we're not having a conversation.
That was his first line, literally.
100%. That was his response to why one group of people can carry
Wow.
assault rifles and the other can carry sentences for throwing rocks, was how big rocks can come.
And that's why, like, for years on this show, we've talked about how unserious, uncivilized, white supremacist and racist that thing is for years on this show. Understanding what it was meant to be, right? But now watching people have to grapple with the reality of what it actually is. Because that's where we are today.
And it ain't no different from
what we're dealing with here in the
That's what I always.
States. And that's what we always
say. Don't. I always try to tell other Jews, like, don't feel bad. America sucks too.
America's the exact same.
Yeah, you don't have to feel, because I understand it. Everywhere, like, I get all these comments from people thinking I'm a self-hater, but bro, my wife is Israeli. The food that I eat, my comfort food now, is all Israeli food. I'm not some person who, like, is hateful and doesn't believe when people say Israeli culture doesn't exist. Nothing. It's bullshit. Of course, there's real things to it. It's real people. There are good people and real culture there that exists, just like in America. But there's also tons of bullshit.
Yeah.
It's we can just accept it the way we've all accepted that America is not what they said it was on paper.
But on the indoctrination
drive
point, you and I
Teslas.
shared some Instagram posts of some young ladies trying to
That joint crazy.
break apart
Why
the
are you
identity
kidding?
of Jewish people away from the Israeli government.
Why
right?
are you kidding?
Because they've tried to conflate Zionism and Judaism as the same thing.
Because then if you go anti-Israel, you get to call it anti-Semitism. And if you raise enough anti-Semitism, you're going to scare the ish out of Jews. And then where are they going to go? Israel. Israel needs anti-Semitism.
It's a wild, vicious cycle.
It's a wild.
I always equate it to America, man, and say, like, America is an evil imperialist state. It is. Like, it carries out acts of atrocity around the globe
For financial gain.
It's built on acts of atrocity. It's built on genocide. It's built on the largest slavery in the history of mankind. Like, we can collectively acknowledge that. I mean, I guess the MAGA crowd, they like to pretend that it's not significant, but they don't really even
So
deny
did the Confederates.
Yeah, they are the Confederates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't deny its existence. They just say it's not as important as we think it is.
Yeah.
But obviously, the photographic evidence exists. We know what happened, and we can criticize that without saying that we hate all the people of New York City.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can criticize that and actually be the people of New York City.
Absolutely. You
And we
criticize
should
them,
be
you
able to-
should
but-
have.
And also critiquing something actually shows that you care.
And yes.
Because guess what? If it didn't matter and you didn't care,
But it's so
you wouldn't even be talking about it.
But it's the part that makes it so complicated is that even for someone like me, with all of my thoughts on this, if someone brings it up the wrong way, it can still make you go, I don't like how that sounds. And like, you know, Ye, for example, was a great example of that. Hopefully now he's turned over a new leaf. But, you know, when Ye was doing all his stuff,
Yo, I got two
the
viewers.
like I would,
here, bro.
You just see it in the comments. Like to be anti-Israel is
I had to.
absolutely not to be
Niggas did.
anti-Semitic. However, I see my share of people who, when they're really chest puffed about their anti-Israel, half the time, 40% of the time,
You're a
the
funny guy,
anti-Semitism does follow. And that's what makes it super complicated and hard. Back to my parents, back to my mom, who was born in a
You're a
displaced
funny
persons
guy,
camp, because
guy.
we've seen this recently. Like as we get older,
I need to
you
export
realize
this.
how recent that was. Like this
And
isn't
then bring
hundreds
it
of years
back
ago.
in.
And as I'm watching the
That's what I
dynamic
think I
now
need to
of
do.
everything that's going, bro, you talk about not wanting to worry. Between the Epstein files, Israel, Stephen Miller, I see all the pieces in place for the worst and most unimaginable things to happen again. It does exist in my brain.
Yeah, but on the same token, black people, and we've had this same conversation. When I be like, yo, when they start hanging black people again, y'all gonna start acting real different, acting like this white supremacy thing ain't something you're supposed to be worried about. You're supposed to be worried about this at all times.
Yep.
When these police get to killing people, oh, we're here now? Oh, now y'all want to pay attention.
Well, this is what we saw this week with people and the way even you see certain people talk about ICE. Like other people of color acting as if the ICE thing isn't their problem. It's the most insane thing of all time. As if it's not going to all of a sudden become other people. Oh, well, one
Same
generation, that's not
size.
enough for citizenship. Or wait, what did that person say on their podcast?
Same
Or-
size.
this
What
is
did
the
they
beginning.
post?
Yeah, what did they? This is
Yeah.
just the beginning.
The white
Fuck with
supremacist
this.
machine relies on collective amnesia. That
Yeah, man.
relies on us forgetting what the Black Panther Party actually stood for. I've seen a lot of people commenting on the new groups calling themselves Black Panthers, saying, "Oh, the Black Panthers wouldn't have supported immigrants."
Yeah, right.
I'm like, okay, so you haven't read a single book, listened to a speech,
Nothing.
you haven't heard
No.
Chairman Fred Hampton say you don't fight racism with racism, you fight it with solidarity. You haven't heard Huey P. Newton say that
I didn't even.
we dedicate
I'll
ourselves to the
download
struggle
this
of all
joint.
oppressed people, and we've decided
That's
to call
crazy.
ourselves internationalists. Like
Oh, wow.
You know how white
Malcolm X
they were
saying,
wiped out. They did such a great job. I got to give it up. We give credit to Kid Rock earlier. You got to give it up to the full-on white supremacy baked into our government for the way that they erased the Black Panthers. By the time I was a kid,
Erasing of the
it
Black
meant, like,
Panthers.
fringe, crazy, like only hip hop taught me that it was not that.
Yeah, you had to really look.
You had to
No,
look.
it's facts.
Absolutely.
COINTELPRO is so effective.
Oh
So
man,
effective not only at assassinating all those leaders, but at also like scrubbing the history.
Well,
of
and
what-
Look what's
and we-
happening now, though, with book banning.
Well, we conveniently like to act like there was freedom of press before. Like they weren't shaping a narrative in the
Mhm.
60s and 70s using mainstream media outlets, the news cycle, and the newspaper. Yes, there were
I believe
independent
this.
newspapers before, and that it's very hard to exist now as one. But always and forever,
God,
they have
did I
shaped
make sure that this
the narrative
was
against
transparent, though?
black consciousness, black activism,
Maybe
and all that in this
not.
country. So I know people like to act like, oh, where the media is a problem now. It's always been a problem. It's always been a problem. That's not
Yo,
new.
you are
I think we end up in
wildin'.
an interesting place when people have forgotten
Like you are
the
really
actual
wildin'.
life words and work
That is
of
OD.
these leaders and heroes of Black history, but only remember the iconography and then use it as they
Yeah.
see fit
Yo,
Mhm.
without
Yo.
having actually studied any of what they
yo,
believed and what
my
they
mans,
stood
you
for.
are
And
really-
then you end up at a place where a lot of our people
you've
think
really
that
gone too far.
their enemy is Mexicans, or think that their enemy is the Venezuelans, or think their enemy is the Somali
Oh,
people.
now you don't
Not,
know what I'm talking
um,
about.
The structure that incarcerates and profits
Bruh.
from their incarceration. It's not
Bro,
Palantir
you wildin', son.
that had the conversation with
wild.
Epstein about returning us to
Man is
tribalism and then
Literally
funds
farting up
or
himself,
powers
yo.
ICE. Like
That's crazy.
it's the same people. It's the same Geo Group
I mean,
and Core
yo,
Civic,
act like you don't, you know what I'm saying?
privatized prison companies that are profiting from niggas making Starbucks caps and shit in the prison that are
Yeah,
creating
act
ICE
like- act
detention
like you
centers.
don't
And I
know what I'm
wonder
talking about. That's fine.
how people can believe that their enemy is the person that's in the other detention center and not the one owning the fucking detention center.
Because we have a lot of waking up to do, bro.
For sure.
We have a lot of waking up to do. And also, I don't think people, generally speaking, and while they're in the rat race and on the hamster wheel and all these things, have the capacity
Mhm.
to do
Jeep
the
and
work
Volkswagen go
and
head to head.
build a
in
life that
tug
can
of
disconnect
war,
from these
and there's a clear
machines, these
winner.
institutions, these conveniences that are provided to them by tech or
This is
corporate,
not-
entities. It's very hard.
It's gonna be bad.
You know what I mean? Even us having this conversation feels great. People are gonna love it. They're gonna like it. They're
Oh
gonna comment.
shit,
They're gonna share.
Volkswagen.
And then what?
Mhm.
And then what? I mean,
Oh.
okay, yeah, the midterms. There's always a new hurdle. Just
Stop-
get to the
stop-
midterms
stop-
and get them
stop
out of here, and then
pressing
we'll figure it
gas,
out.
bro.
And then there'll be a new hurdle on top of that. And then we're
Did you hear how the
But don't
joint
worry, they
was
gotta solve for
rattling,
that.
son?
The Republican, the Trump is working, so we don't even have to have that.
yeah. No, may not
We won't
have
even
it.
have to play the midterm game anymore. It'll
Well,
just be a
well,
wrap.
look, they done made you not believe in the election process so much that now people maybe will be apathetic, which is what they really want. Because the only people who don't believe in the election process tends to be people who are struggling the most and are the most marginalized. Because I'm gonna tell you who's always showing up to cast their ballot: white rich people. They never not show up. The only people having conversations about this shit not working be us. Think about that. Why is that? They go to all the community board meetings. They show up at all the elections because they have time. They're never talking about not voting.
Yep.
Why do we do that?
Yeah, man.
Vic Mensa, I love you. Proud of you.
Too, man. I
Happy for you.
appreciate you, man. Thank y'all for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Listen, the Ebro Laura Rosenberg show, vicmensa.com.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
else we supposed to promote today before you out of here?
Cool.
That's it. You just showed up to be our first interview on the Love.
Yes.
No, listen, man. Take notes, man. Didn't even have nothing to promote.
Nah, he can't. This was a Shirley. Yo, when you coming to town? Actually, next week. Come through.
Hell yeah.
Love it. Love,
Love
it.
it.
Love it.
Yo, give it up one time. Vic Mensa on the
Yeah,
program.
so clap.
Yeah,
Appreciate y'all,
we need a little
man.
outro for the people.
Yes.
And that's
Oh,
the
that's
intro.
The That's the intro. What?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Pull it together, man. It's our first
Sorry,
guest.
man. Sorry, first guest. You know what I mean?
It's a
We
big
stumbled
deal,
on
man.
the outro.
Yo, boy had to come fuck with it. Your boy Cuomo.
Yo, classic moment, man. It might have
No.
lost us our gig at Hot 97. We don't
No, but it was worth it.
It was worth
I
it.
think so.
He thinks so.
Well, listen, in our own way, this show, in our own way, this studio is Vic Mensa with the orange tree.
That's right. There you go.
And we wouldn't have found the
Vic
tree
Mensa with the orange.
if we hadn't Cuomo hadn't hung up on us. They tried to shut that whole thing down. That's what we knew.
Listen, subscribe right here, share, like, do all the things you do on the internet to let the algorithm know it's popping.
Are we doing a show on Monday? It's a holiday.
Oh, that's a good point. What holiday is it?
We got to figure this out. It's
President's
President's Day. It's a
Day.
real day off for people.
Oh, really?
Are they doing a show?
We may not be here Monday.
Well, yeah,
Tuesday,
we'll
or
let you
Tuesday.
know. We'll see
We'll let
soon.
you know. We
You
work
an
for ourselves. We'll figure it out
entrepreneur.
Monday.
You talking about something if you doing a show on Monday. You an entrepreneur. Like this your show. Peter Rosenberg, he like, yo, it's President's Day on Monday. Are we doing a show? Why wouldn't you be doing a show? Like, nigga, this is your job. Like, you own this. And it's early. Like you've been doing this for maybe a month and a half. Like it's early still. You wanna not do a show? You wanna not do a show? It's crazy. I don't know if I would have. Listen, man, ain't no days off, yo. When you run it, ain't no days off. Not until you may hit the goal that you're looking for.
Love y'all.
Maybe we'll throw up like some greatest hits or something for y'all
Yeah.
to check out. Maybe reminisce for the people who just checked in and missed some shows.
Yeah, a little catch up.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Plus,
okay.
we're gonna be getting into some new logos and things next week.
Yeah,
Bro, you
yeah.
should sign on,
The
son.
plans continue.
Yeah, man,
Let me
we've
say
got
you-
plans, and also the
Let me
merch
say
too is
you
happening.
listen-
Yes,
out.
it's
Go
out.
live
Go to
too,
EbroLauraRosenbergShow.com. It's limited, so I don't want to hear any complaints. Get it now, because I'm gonna shut it down in a
We
little.
might need to take some merch advice from Mick Mensa.
Well,
Mensa.
I'll
Just
tell you one
gotta-
thing
you
we're
just
gonna do
need
is
to mute
we're gonna do
Mute your
a
day,
belly
man.
a belly crop
Belly
version of the We Got
shirt.
Planned shirt, the Vic Mensa
Mute your
style.
mic.
You know what I
A
mean?
mesh
Belly
belly
button
shirt.
joint.
Maybe you gotta jump on the meeting, just mute your mic.
See y'all, man. Ebro Laura
My thing was
Rosenberg.
turned off.
Yo,
That's why I'm not getting none of these alerts. That's crazy, bro. I need to find out about this new Nick news though, blood, cause the Knicks is making moves, B. Yeah, my Instagram is. I mean, my YouTube is really wild. There we go. This right here. But no, this is Knicks Nation. Where's Knicks Digest? Did he do a thing yet? Hold on. Why, yo? I'm not playing that. Yo, this joint says bend her will. 11 female weaknesses that give you total control, and it got a photo of a dude behind the chick and has her bent over. That's correct. That's what the thumbnail for the video is, bro. That's what the thumbnail for the video is, bro. That is crazy. This is 48 minutes. Do I want to watch a 48-minute video though? I mean, I mess with CP the franchise. Let's fuck with it.
Greg, we need to talk.
No time, got sales calls to summarize.
You really need to switch to Monday CRM. It has built-in AI that summarizes calls.
Salute.
I know once you go streaming and you want to watch YouTube, YouTube on your stream, you better pay for YouTube Premium, son. So you don't get them damn ads.
All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Thursday afternoon. Some of you guys wanted them, and Leon and company went there and got them, man. Jeremy Sochan signs a deal with the New York Knicks for the rest of the regular season, according to Shams. Sochan, who averaged 10.4 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game in 25 minutes for the Spurs in 212 games, recently released by the Spurs. And hey, he chose the orange and blue crew. So let's talk about it. Call me up on the KFTV Discord if you want to get your thoughts in. I'll give you my thoughts. Where do we go from here? As the Knicks load up. Wing stop. Let's go. Salute, man. Salute to everybody on the lunchtime grind, midday grind on this Thursday. Let's get it going. Like, share, and subscribe. Salute to our sponsors of today's show. Shout out to CarGurus.com. All right. Well, listen, man. For a lot of you guys, your prayers have been answered. The DMs have been flooded for like almost a month. CP, what about Sochan? Can we get Sochan? What do you think about Sochan? I always said, hey, listen, it's possible. He's certainly on their radar. As we heard from Michael Scotto during the whole trade deadline rumors that the Knicks did make the Spurs an offer to get him, but the Spurs, and it's so funny on this highlight reel, he's shooting a shot over Yabusele. According to Michael Scotto, the Spurs didn't want to take that Yabusele extra year on his contract, so they passed. Lo and behold, a couple of days ago, he gets clipped. And so here you have it, a young 22-year-old lottery pick for the Spurs out of Baylor. And, look, when he got there, they were in the midst of their tank. And so he did get some minutes there. He did have a role carved out. But as their tank became more and more ferocious, they got more and more talent. Obviously, they brought in Wemby. They brought in Castle. You bring in Harper. You bring in De'Aaron Fox. At one point, they had Sochan running the point. They had this point guard experiment with Sochan. That was on the Popovich thing. Didn't work out so well. And so before you knew it, he found himself on the receiving end of DMPs on the back end of the bench and really no more role. So it was kind of surprising to see that he did get cut. Now, look, he can't shoot into the ocean, can't hit the broadside of a barn, but still has tools. As a versatile wing, ferocious defender,
still second,
pesky
in the West,
can handle the ball. I guess that's why they thought that he can run that point forward role for you. But again, really couldn't carve out a role.
This kid. So, a dickhead with this yellow,
very interesting stuff. So now the Knicks go out there and they get him. And according to Shams, there were 10 teams after Sochan when he got released, and he picked the New York Knicks. So what does that mean? I mean, that has to say something to me in terms of, hey, are they promising him some sort of minutes here? And is that going to come at the expense of our guy Mo Diawara? Very interesting. Very interesting. Because if he's choosing between 10 teams, 22 years old, trying to get his career back on track, Would he
came
just
back
come to the Knicks to be
Yeah.
parked on the bench again? Remember, the Suns were interested as well. So I think that's
That
an
jersey
interesting
was kind of
development.
fly. I'm not gonna lie about that jersey.
But, shout out to Frat Boy on the chat. Says, CP, what does he
Okay.
bring to the team that the team is missing? I
Jeez,
think it's a lot
Spurs?
if he plays. For one, listen, man, I said it when Antonio Daniels was on the show on Monday. You can never have enough wings. Those of you that have been fans of this show have heard me scream to the mountaintops, we need wings. We're too small. We need wings.
We need wings.
And over the
It's crazy.
years,
Cole
hey,
Wingstop.
they brought in an undersized wing in
We
Josh Hart
need
who
wings
plays
called Buffalo
way bigger
Wild
than his
Wings.
size. Then they go get OG. Then they get McCall. Now you got Mo Diawara. They got Dottie, but forget about him. He's useless. So now you bring in a Sohan. This is an arms race, ladies and gentlemen. As we look at the Eastern